Puma, or as a lot of people like to correct me, Puma, even though I know a guy who I happen to do a weekly podcast with who has actually designed his own football boot with the Puma brand and also says Puma, which kind of reassures me that it is Puma and not Puma, doesn't currently have a speed boot, which in today's modern football boot market, quite frankly, doesn't make a lot of sense. You have the Future 5.1, which definitely isn't a true speed boot and honestly isn't really marketed as anything specific from the Puma brand. You have the Puma 1 20.1, which as the name would suggest is kind of Puma's all-in-one concept. Out of everything they currently make, this is maybe the most speed boot-esque in terms of its performance characteristics, and that the lockdown and responsiveness is quite good, but being that it does feature a kangaroo leather upper and isn't the sleekest looking football boot in the world, it's definitely not a top choice for people on the market looking for a speed boot. And then you have the Puma King Platinum, which has seen little to no marketing attention from the Puma brand, is obviously more of a heritage style boot being that it is a Puma King, but definitely has a very speed boot-esque silhouette. The fact that it is a full kangaroo leather upper though definitely doesn't make this a top speed boot option. With that said, Puma is also a brand that likes to switch it up relatively quickly. In 2019 alone, we got three generations of Puma Future and Puma 1, basically running the boots on a 4-month life cycle. So the likelihood of us getting something new from Puma very, very soon, I would say is very likely. And given the fact that we're already seeing pros training in what looks to be the next big thing from the Puma brand, very speed boot-esque I might add, it looks like we're going to be getting something more along the lines of what we used to get from the Evo Speed line versus what Puma has been providing for the last couple of years. Which is great because at this point I think everybody is sick of the Puma 1. Please don't make another one. So first things first, I'm really curious to hear your initial thoughts on the look of these unreleased Puma boots. Please let me know what they are down below in the comments. As far as what I thought initially, one, this looks really good. It looks like a return to a true speed boot concept, which like I pointed out, I don't think Puma is doing with any of their current models, which is a bit of a mistake. Now, what I'll also say is that I think Puma over the last 3 years especially has made some huge improvements in regards to their synthetic and knitted tech. And based on the look of this boot, the upper appears to be some kind of a textile base. I don't think that this is a true knitted upper. It's some kind of a mesh-based synthetic with plastic overlays kind of all fused together. Either way, it does look quite thin, and the overall silhouette of this boot seems to be very low profile, offering a tight fit and hopefully more of a true barefoot sensation than I think a lot of the knitted uppers that are currently available. I'm kind of hoping for an upper along the lines of what Adidas put out in limited quantities in the X99.1, and even something along the lines of what we have with the laceless X19 Plus. That to me is kind of what this upper looks like, and if it ends up being anything like those two uppers, I think Puma is definitely going to have a real winner here as far as touch is concerned, and also something that separates itself from everything else currently available, mainly the Nike Mercurial series. Something else that would be really cool to see in regards to the upper is some trickle-down tech from the 2014 Evo Speed SL, which was more or less an experimental boot from the Puma brand that you could actually buy. $300 for a football boot that would basically come with a warning letting you know that these might last 10 matches, probably less though, and they were just very, very fragile, but also extremely lightweight and honestly one of the most unique football boots to play in for those that did actually get to try them. Obviously, it ended up being a bit of a fail because nobody bought them for $300 knowing they would break so easily, but from an experience standpoint, it was really special. So I'm curious to see if Puma is able to utilize any of those materials and technologies, hopefully 6 years down the road, improve the overall durability and implement it on what looks to be a football boot with somewhat of a similar concept. Something else I'm also really happy about in regards to this particular boot is the fact that it is a low cut, something that we haven't seen a lot from the Puma brand over the last couple of years. Pretty much all their flagship models have been mid cuts, although they have offered low cut variants, so I will credit them there. Either way, I really feel like the speed boot concept, where part of that concept is for the boot to be as lightweight as possible, it only makes sense to have a low cut construction because that makes for less material, therefore a lighter overall feel. A collar just adds material, adds weight, and really offers no performance benefit. So I think low cut is definitely the way to go, and I think the overall look of the cut is actually really nice as well. The boot also appears to have a pretty clear one-piece upper and a very simple central lacing system that runs nice and deep into the boot. So given that the upper is thin but still nice and structured, having the adjustability of the deep lacing system should allow for a really good fit and really good lockdown. Moving to the base, you can pretty clearly see that there is an external heel counter that looks pretty similar to what we currently have on the Puma 1 and the King Platinum, although you can also pretty clearly see based on where the point is that it's a little bit further forward. So it does look to be completely new tooling. I'm not sure what kind of material the entire sole plate is going to be made of. Probably some kind of plastic, probably some kind of P-back, knowing Puma, that's a material that they typically like to use. I guess it's a possibility that we could see some form of carbon fiber. They used to do it a lot back in the V series days, and when they have done it, they've done it quite well. Although I don't think that it's something we're going to see on this boot based on the fact that carbon fiber is typically pretty expensive. Either way, I'm optimistic about the sole plate. And as far as the stud pattern is concerned, the side profile doesn't really show too much. It does look to be conical studs, kind of along the lines of what we have now with the Puma 1 and the Puma Future. Probably not going to be too different if I had to guess, but if it's anything similar to this, it'll also be very aggressive in regards to overall traction, so I am optimistic. I guess what I'm really hoping for, and let me know if you agree with me down below in the comments, is something along the lines of what speed boots used to be back in 2010. Because if you look back at that original Adidas F50 Adi Zero, where the speed boots were less than 6 ounces, but also relatively durable, speed boots have definitely bulked up a little bit since that point in time. And based on how these look, and based on the materials used, and based on what we've seen from Puma in the past with speed boot technologies, I'm kind of hoping for a speed boot from the Puma brand that not only performs the part, not only offers really good traction, but is also a lot lighter than all of its competition. I think if they can introduce something like that, people will be very excited about those boots, and hopefully really excited about the Puma brand again. Puma, I'm excited. Just make sure they last more than 10 matches. Anyways, guys, that's it for what was an early look at what might be the next big speed boot in 2020. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you do want to see more of these boot spotting style videos on the channel, don't forget to support this one with a like. Again, if you have any opinions of your own or questions that you have for me about this particular boot, leave it down below in the comments and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.